destination.
You've reached your destination.
Go!
Right, it's Destination Yuri. It is the morning programme. I'm Rowan Hand. The lady is Rhonda Montgomery. You're most welcome. The gentleman is Nino Giovanni McMahon. How are you, Nino?
Great, Rowan. Good to see you.
How are you, Rhonda?
Great.
You're
Rowan,
both
thanks very much
welcome
for
this
having
morning.
us.
No, it's your guest. You're welcome. We know Nino. We don't know you as well, but it's good to have you in our midst. Which part of Northern Ireland are you from?
I'm actually from Clocker,
From Clocker.
down in County Tyrone.
Aughert, Clocker and 5 Mile Town. Is that it?
That's right.
Goodness gracious, many's the time I went through it. Now, the story is Nina, we know from your past life in the Southern Regional College.
That's right, yeah.
I go back 50 years to you cooking in Jordan's.
Not quite 50 now.
Well, near, we're
You're
heading
putting
in
the
that
age on me there.
direction, you know. We're a long time ago. But you're now bringing on a new range of foods and flavours and of recipes for the Montgomery Food Consultancy.
Yeah, basically started working for Rhonda at the start of January, and I was looking for a new challenge, and I loved the concept of what she was doing with her Butchery Excellence scheme.
Yes.
So we basically have 75 butchers signed up across Northern Ireland, and we also go into Monaghan and Donegal. And the idea is that we offer a full package of training facilities for them, from hygiene, quality audits.
Yeah.
And where I come in, obviously, then is looking at their presentation skills, looking at recipe development, menu engineering, and basically trying to get them to think outside of the box. So a lot of delicatessens, they have a tendency to do the same stuff a lot of the time. I'm not saying all of them, there's some excellent delicatessens out there as well. And sometimes it's just a matter of going in and saying to these the butchers and the deli owners, you know, you have fantastic produce here.
Yeah.
Maybe you could use it slightly differently.
Okay.
So what we're doing at the moment is we've set up a series of workshops. We've got about 15 individual workshops, and we're rolling them out. We've started doing them over the last week or two. We're booked out for the next 5 weeks.
Sounds good to me, Rhonda.
So
Excellent.
it's
Yeah.
really, there seems to be a genuine interest now.
I think this wasn't, you know, the leaf always falls where it's meant to fall. It's a good combination, the pair of you doing this thing. Have you've been in the business a long time, Rhonda?
I've been a food technologist now for 16 years,
Yes.
and I started Montgomery Food Consulting up in 2010. And I decided last year to expand the company further and to try and secure the butchery sector in Ulster. The scheme's been very successful with its launch because not only do we help them from a technical point of view with their hygiene, their food safety, food labelling and marketing, etc., but we're also providing now new services for them to help them become more profitable, make them more competitive with the multinational supermarkets, and to give them an opportunity to actually really progress themselves from the point of view of providing competitions for them. For National Butcher Week, for instance, we're launching our first Clocker Valley Junior Sausage Competition. It'll range from P4 to P7.
That's wonderful.
Where they'll think of a new flavour for a sausage. And there'll be a winner then per school then, and then obviously then Nino then for the prize for the winning school, he's going to do like a cookout with the children and things like that.
Well, we're doing a cookout here today because we've got, what are we cooking today, Nino?
I'm going to do two very different dishes. One for my own heritage because I'm half Italian, so I love Italian food. So the first one I'm going to do is a very famous Italian dish called aglio olio peperoncino.
Aglio olio peperoncino.
Peperoncino, which basically translated means...
I'm watching carefully here because I love my kitchen. Andrew, we've got a nice medium shot. You can leave me out of this shot, Andrew, and close in on the two folk on the table. That would be great. So what are we going to do?
So it's basically, like all Italian cooking, it's very simple. Simplicity is the key. I was lucky enough to have lived out there for a couple of years recently. I took a sabbatical from the college and went out.
Olive oil?
So we've got nice extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to put plenty of that in the pan.
Plenty, yes.
So the secret is when you're cooking in Italy that you use lots of olive oil, because unfortunately in this country sometimes when you put too much olive oil they say, oh, that's very greasy, but it's a beautiful product.
And should I, in my spaghetti bolognese, which I'm very good spaghetti bolognese, should I use lots of olive oil in it?
Lots of olive oil. The secret is you want a nice amount of oil seeping out with the tomatoes. So if you go to a really good Italian restaurant, you're looking for a lot of oil left on the plate. And you get your nice bread then, and you mop it up with your nice crusty bread.
You keep going and I'll talk to you.
So I've got the olive oil in here, and I'm just not too hot a temperature because we're going to put in some fresh chilies, which we chopped up nice little
Now, are they hot chilies? Really hot?
They're moderately hot because you don't want to, as I would say, blow the head off them.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you want it...
That's really 3 or 4. It's maybe 2 tablespoonfuls.
Yeah, about Yeah, but 2 tablespoonfuls. You're going to let them sweat down a little
You're
bit
sweating. I'm looking here.
in the olive oil.
Yeah.
And just when they start to colour up, we're going to put in a little bit of garlic.
And that's because the garlic will burn.
The garlic will burn very quickly,
Very
so we have to be
quickly.
very careful with this dish because it'll all go really quick.
Am I impressing you with my knowledge?
You're doing very well. So now I'm just lifting it off the heat and I'm just letting all those flavours infuse into the olive oil.
Yes.
And at this stage, because obviously we're cooking on a little table here, I've got my pre-cooked spaghetti.
Yes.
You can use any type of pasta you want. The trick with cooking the spaghetti, if you want to pre-cook it, it's not a problem. That's what they do in Italian restaurants. You just soak it and you put a little bit of water on it and a little bit of olive oil, and you can see the strands come apart very easily.
Yes, 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 yes.
And this is typical of an area called Abruzzo in Italy, but I've eaten it in Tuscany, I've eaten it in Calabria, so it's kind of nationwide dish which has been adopted. And all we do now is we just rub the pasta into the oil, into the chilies and the garlic. And you know, it's a dish that has 3 ingredients.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Italian cooking. They just, you know, they don't have to
Yeah.
overcomplicate things. They've got a lot of confidence in their products.
Yeah.
So if you have really good chilies, if you've got really good olive oil, you've got nice pasta, you don't need to mess about with the food too much.
No.
Going to put in a little bit of seasoning.
See, salt and pepper.
Yeah, so nice little bit of sea salt. Nice little bit of cracked black pepper.
Yeah.
And then just going to turn up the heat a little bit because we want to cook out the pasta. Another little drop of olive oil. I want it nice and shiny. And you can hear it starting to sizzle.
Yes. I'm learning so much already, Rhonda, because in my kitchen I would have thought the less oil the better, and that's where I was getting it wrong.
That's right. See, olive oil now is more healthy for you now,
Yes, of
so they
course.
encourage you to take more off it. And
Yeah.
I think in a way with the Butcher Excellence scheme, with bringing the cooking end of things on board with the scheme's good for the butchers and that as well, and the supermarkets,
Absolutely.
because people have sort of got lazy with cooking now, with, you know, buying ready meals and convenience
Yes.
products, and I think people need to get back into the old way of things and starting to make things again themselves instead of
Yes.
cheating and using sauces and things like that. So it's good to have some change.
Yes. Look at this. This is gorgeous.
If you wanted now as well, if you wanted to kind of change it slightly again, look, using local produce, some lovely brighter gold rapeseed oil. something like
Rapeseed
that.
oil, yes.
Absolutely beautiful
Uh-huh.
flavour. I was using it in the
Yeah.
kitchen the other day.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic product as well, and that would work equally as
Yeah,
well.
Paddy Rooney does that down in outside Dundalk.
That's right, yeah, there's a lot of companies going into that. And that, look, that's as simple as it
That's
gets.
it.
That's it done.
It's done.
That's it done. So we have a little bowl.
This thing.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
And again, the whole key, simplicity. Don't mess about with it too much. Keep it really simple.
Wow.
And then we need a little bit of Parmigiano. Nice little bit of Parmesan, which we're going to sprinkle on top. And we've got knives and forks there. See
Yeah,
what
we're
it is.
going to try this big time. Look at that. Wow.
And again, the lovely flavoured oil. Drizzled over at the end.
Look at that. My goodness.
And then just a little sprinkle of the Parmesan. Must be fresh.
Fresh, yeah, and then you grind, you grate it yourself.
Yeah, and that's that ready to go.
My goodness. May I
So,
try a little?
you may indeed, and there's a nice fork and spoon there for you.
The smell of this is absolutely wonderful, guys. I tell you. My goodness.
In your local deli counter, Rowan, would you buy it?
Yeah, I would if I got this. If it was done the way it's done here, I would. But I mean, at deli counters, it's just a mishmash,
Well,
and this is the real deal.
See, this is what we're sort of trying to develop with the butchers that have hot food counters on for the supermarkets, is for them to bring more variety, to bring home cooking, bring a bit of Thai in, bring a bit of Chinese and Moroccan and all them types of dishes to bring more variety to people's lunch.
the workshops that we're doing at the moment, we're doing a selection of salads. So instead of just having the coleslaw and potato salad,
This I'm going to take another spoon of this if I may. Yeah,
certainly.
so good. Now, the one thing I was asking you about, how do I keep the batter on my calamari?
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that.
Well, if you want to do calamari, get your fresh calamari. You can slice it into rings, or you can slice it into little strips. For me, the tentacles are the nicest piece. I like them, even though a lot of people avoid them. You can put them into a little bit of milk first, okay, and then you can pass them through a little bit of flour, seasoned flour.
Self-raising flour?
Yeah, self-raising flour, a little bit of salt and pepper.
Yeah.
And then for your batter, the best batter and the simplest batter, again, because it's all about simplicity, is self-raising flour, soda water, and a little pinch of salt.
Yeah.
And the idea is, we were taught as chefs, whisk everything, get all the lumps out of it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the worst
There's
thing you can do with a batter.
Well,
So you actually leave all the little lumps in, and when it goes into the fryer, those little bits of flour pop open.
Yeah.
And it gives it
Did you
lovely
know
crispy.
I did not.
no,
I'm learning
you were
every day,
learning it. We're
Rowan.
learning as we go. I can't
Usually
stop.
for lunch, I usually skip lunch most days.
I
but
do too. My breakfast every morning is 250 grams of blueberries. That's all I take.
Superfood,
Yeah,
as
that's
we
all
call
I
it.
take.
Yeah. Well, you could
Yep.
get a lot worse.
Yeah, now this is great. Now where are we going now?
Right, we'll go from there. If you could pass me that pot, Ron, there should be one pot there.
Mm.
I'm going to do a little Thai dish. Okay, which I love Thai cookery. I don't know enough about it.
You know
but
what I love about you and what you're doing here? Everything is so relaxed. There's no hassle on you.
I'm not always
You're
like
just,
that.
oh, I know.
That's
But
the
I
ones
mean,
in the
this is
SRC.
great. But I mean, it's so easy for you.
No, well, it's second
It's
nature at this
natural.
stage.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is I'm going to do you a nice Thai chicken noodle broth. It's called Chiang Mai noodle soup. Comes from Chiang Mai province
Chiang Mai.
in Thailand.
I've tried this now and it is beautiful. Rowan. It is lovely.
So we have a nice little array of ingredients here, just to talk you through them. Generally speaking, when you're talking about Thai cookery, we have a few basic ingredients. We've got garlic, lemongrass, chili, ginger, and coriander. So when you go and you buy your Thai red curry paste in a little
Yeah.
pot, that's basically what you're getting, okay? A combination of all those. I'm doing them with all fresh ingredients here today, okay? And you can
Yep.
probably, if you want, we don't have smelly vision yet. We will have smelly vision eventually. If you had, you could smell all the lovely pungent flavours that we have here.
Wow.
Now, in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite to what I did a minute ago with the olive oil. So I don't want too much oil, so I'm just literally coating the pan with a little bit of oil just to
So
sweat
little
down.
for Thai,
Little
lots for
Thai.
Italian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in here I've got my garlic, chili, coriander, peppers, and mushrooms. You can use a nice little shiitake mushroom, you can use an obi mushroom, whatever you want. You can use ordinary champignon, little button ones. I happen to get chestnut mushrooms in the shop yesterday, so that's what I've used. It doesn't really matter. Turn up the heat. We want to sweat down the vegetables because we're trying to release the natural sugars that we have in the vegetables. If we caramelize food a little bit, we bring out the natural flavour, and it makes a big, big difference. Again, always season. Seasoning is going to bring out the natural flavour. Okay, so a little bit of salt, tiny little bit of pinch of pepper, because we're already going to be using chili. Okay, so we don't need too much pepper. They're sweating down nicely now. I'm going to put in a nice little pop of fiery ginger.
Wow.
Okay. Now in Thailand they'd use a thing called galangal. Okay, which is another root very similar to ginger.
Yeah.
And that would be more authentic. I couldn't get galangal, so I'm using just the ordinary fresh root ginger. That's
Yeah.
going to give a lovely punch of fire to the dish. They're all sweating down. We get a lovely smell that's coming from them.
Yeah.
I'm now going to put in my Thai red curry paste.
Yes, and you just buy that in the shop.
You can buy it in the shop, but you can make it yourself in a mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
And it's as easy to make it yourself. So again, as I said, garlic, chili, lemongrass, ginger,
Yeah.
just all pureed up, or you can
Yeah.
do it in your mortar and pestle, or you can do it in your liquidizer home.
Yeah.
Be careful not to put too much in.
Yeah.
I'm just letting that infuse a little bit. Now I'm going to put in some chicken stock.
Yes.
And again, you can use fresh chicken stock, you can use a stock cube,
Yep.
whatever you feel happy doing. So then I'm putting in my chicken stock. You get that lovely sizzle. Not putting too much in, because again, we're just doing for one bowl. Now I'm going to let that boil up a little bit and infuse all the flavours. Now the original recipe for this would be using chicken thighs. And they would put all the thighs in the soup.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, which is really nice. But again, obviously I'm cooking in the studio here today, so I've got some cooked diced chicken. I've just poached that off in a little bit of chicken stock. I'm just going to add that in as well. And funny enough, when I was doing a little bit of research years ago about Thai food, what they would do is they would have a big pot of soup in the middle of the table.
Yeah.
And when you have a meal, we did it in the college a couple of times, Thai banquets,
Uh-huh.
you would put a big tureen of this Chiang Mai soup in the middle of the table, and then all the other dishes go out at the one time. So it's not like starter, main course.
All there.
Everything goes out to the table at one time, and they would have the soup like we might have wine or we might have water.
Yes,
So they
yes.
use the soup in a similar way. So I'm letting my chicken boil up. As that's boiling up, I'm going to put in some fresh scallions.
Scallions. Wow.
Again, a lovely crunch. We're always thinking about textures as chefs.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so we are trying to keep some of the things going at the end. We haven't sweated now because we want that wee punch.
Yeah.
I'm going to put in now some noodles. These are cooked noodles. It's very simple what you do. You get some
noodles.
egg noodles, medium egg noodles. You basically put them in a bowl, you cover them with boiling water for 4 minutes.
Yes.
You let them sit there and then you strain them off. That's the easiest way to cook noodles. So I'm adding my noodles in. Just enough to bring everything together. And the last one is my nice coconut milk.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so they would use coconut milk like we would use cream. It's a nice little finishing touch.
I do know when I make a curry, the coconut milk makes a big difference.
It flavours it.
Yeah, it gives it a lovely creamy texture. Now there's fantastic colours going on in there. I think there's
wonderful.
Really nice smells coming. I'm going to just hit it at the end with a little bit of the fresh ginger because I want that wee bite of ginger coming in as well.
And in cooking generally, it is, not only is it allowed, but it's desirable and correct to to judge the ginger, that we want to give it that wee bit of touch at the end, so you're putting it in at different moments.
Definitely, yeah. The idea with putting it into the start is to give the base ginger flavour, which will infuse into the stock. And the idea of putting a little bit at the end is when the customer is eating it, you get this lovely little fiery crunch of raw ginger, and it's very fragrant.
Rhonda, your courses that the butchery people are coming on, what are you teaching them at the courses?
We're teaching them various different skills like basic cooking techniques.
Basic cooking techniques.
Trying to upskill current deli staff on how to cook better. We're trying to do like pre-employment training, that for those that would maybe be on benefits and are struggling to get jobs, so we can actually take them in and train them, that they can walk straight into a deli.
You don't mind if I have another go at this?
No, you're fine.
Really lovely, I promise you.
We're doing several workshops. I think we've about maybe 15 there in total, ranging from workshops that are making breads to salads, to pies to bakes, doing different types of curries.
We're trying to encourage people to do more ethnic food. You know, I would do a little bit of everything, so I would do a bit of Thai, French, German, Spanish, Mexican. All of these dishes are it's only the ingredients that change around the world. All the cooking principles are the same. So a stew is a stew. So you can have a stew, which is also the same as a curry, which is also the same as Hungarian beef goulash. A stew is a stew. It's just the ingredients that change. What we're trying to do is give them the basic techniques to know what to do with the food that they're selling. So, for example, if a lady goes in or a fellow goes into a butcher and says, right, I want to buy a ribeye or I want to buy a top side of beef, the butcher has that little bit more confidence saying, well, you basically seal that off in a pan, you braise it for a long, slow time, so they're confident about the food they're selling. And
I would go for ribeye before I would go for sirloin.
I'm the same.
It's just a matter of, I suppose.
So those little bits of fat that gives the flavour,
absolutely.
that's why it's tastier.
I think in a way what we're trying to do is that instead of, our hot food deli counters not buying in sauces and heating them up and things like that, there's to get them back and actually making it fresh and making their food more wholesome and flavoursome.
Yes.
And obviously when they make their own products, it's actually more profitable to the shop than buying them in. And, the customer's getting a better meal.
Goodness, look at this.
Now, I just finished that off with a little bit of fresh coriander. You just tear it in. The thing with coriander is use the little stalks as well. Don't remove the stalks. Stalks, beautiful flavour. And again, a textural thing, you get a little bit of crunch.
Oh, Nino, this is something special.
Right, rolling this here.
At the same time, too, it's actually nice to think that you get a high-end quality product in your local supermarket and the deli counter. So you're sort of, when you would go to a restaurant and pay a fortune for a meal, you can actually get something that's as good in a hot food deli counter if the staff are trained and have the skills and the recipes to do it.
I'm going to try this.
Yeah, so that's your Chiang Mai noodle soup. Hope you enjoy it.
Chiang Mai noodle soup. I'm going to tell you now. Smell, first of all, is wonderful. The ginger's getting me.
That's good. It's a nice dish for a cold winter's day, I think.
Oh my God! And I get the creaminess of the coconut in there.
It's a nice balance of textures and flavours.
The both things you've done here, they're vegetarian.
Yeah.
So you don't have to kill.
Apart from the chicken.
The chicken. Yeah, I forgot that.
Like for example, if I go out to maybe a local restaurant at home, and you look at the vegetarian menu, it's always the same type of thing all the time. Like a vegetable Kiev or something like that, and something as simple as that there, could really turn somebody's menu around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the idea for this, Rhonda, for the expansion of the company into this area, where did that come from? The idea?
It's sort of come from a change in legislation at the start. Obviously with the EC 1169 2011 legislation, which is having a major effect on all food businesses that are supplying food for putting allergens on their menus for loose foods, it's affecting all chippies, takeaways, hotels, etc.
So people need to be able to tell what's there.
That's right.
And the danger, what allergens are there. Yeah.
And then obviously then when it come to the butchers, it became a wee bit more complicated for them.
Yes.
Because for them to do a food label right, you have to have a recipe written out with the exact weights. You then had to get a specification for the product that told you exactly what ingredients was in it.
Yeah.
And then you obviously then had to compile that information together. There's different requirements for retail packs if a butcher has his own shop to what is sold outside of shop. So I sort of felt that the butchers wouldn't have the expertise that they needed to do this.
Yeah.
Obviously, under the Montgomery Food Consultant brand, we normally would have went out, and charged people a daily consultancy rate for going out and doing work for them.
Yeah.
So I decided to that I wanted to secure the Ulster sector and look after all the butchers as much as possible. So I decided to do away with the consultancy rate and come up with a scheme for butchers and offer them the full package that included looking after their cleaning and hygiene, helping them with their HACCPs, helping them with their food labelling. HACCP plans.
What's HACCP?
As hazard analysis critical control points, that's their food safety systems. Sort of advising them if they need micro testing done for shelf lives on packs.
Yeah.
We help them with marketing from the point of view that we teach them how to send e-blasts through MailChimp. We launched our own Butchery Excellence app now, which we can also do for butchers that have their own websites.
Yes.
So we're trying to progress the butcher as much as possible to obviously encourage the local people to use them more than going to the multinationals. In order for that to work, I felt that from the cooking aspect, this is obviously why I employed Nino there this year, is that I felt to take it to the next level, that we needed a chef on board to actually work alongside them, because I have the technical skills, but I don't have the cuisine and culinary skills that Nino has. And from Nino's come on board and we've worked together and designed our workshops and doing work with our butchers and coming up with new ideas for ready meals and different recipes and things, it's actually making the scheme stronger.
Yeah.
And I think as time goes on that it'll get stronger, that it'll help us to break into the ROI market and the UK market, which is where I want to take the next level.
You see, as well, as you train the butchers will be able to, train's the wrong word, but to advise their customers, and that the whole thing blossoms, that more exciting things happen in the kitchen. You know?
Absolutely. I'll give you an example. Like one of my members would be Kevin Lowe, as Lowe's Master Butchers in Cookstown.
Yes.
I was in his shop one Friday, very, very busy evening. They actually queue outside the door to get into it on a Friday. And there was 5 staff serving on the counters, and every one of his staff could rhyme off to the customers how you cook that.
Wow.
They are upselling, if they had a chutney or something there, they're actually upselling the product. Customers were maybe asking them, what's the best way to cook that? And the staff were able to do that. And when I actually seen that, and and you go around, when you have 70 members, you see an awful lot. You see a lot of personality and the different skills that people have. And I sort of felt, we need all our members doing this, because if they're going to survive in the game to be better than their competition, they have to be better than everybody else.
Do you find it all that the butchers, the traditional butcher, that he's a wee bit traditional in the sense of not wanting to go down this road, just let's do a stew and nothing else?
You do get some butchers that are like that, but then you get the next generation that are coming in, and they're all into the business. Like I've actually seen a change now where a lot of the sons and daughters, that have their fathers at a butcher shops for years are actually starting to take more of an interest in the businesses now, and you can sort of see a big change in that as you're going out now. And people are more into their food now. Like people want to know what's in their food. They want to know how you cook it. It's like Nino says, whenever I cook a steak, I destroy it because I always take it well done,
Well, the cooking of a steak, now you tell me, am I right here, Nino? I take my ribeye. I have the ribeye on my board 2 hours before I'm going to fry it.
It's a good start, yeah.
I massage salt and pepper into it, and I chop garlic, and I massage that all into it, and I let it sit for the 2 hours in that infusion of garlic, salt and pepper, and I make sure it's well pummeled.
One little problem with that is if you put the salt on too early, you're drawing out the natural moisture.
So not too early with the salt. Not the salt.
Pepper and garlic fine, but the salt will actually draw out the moisture. So
then I get the pan to a high temperature, and I have the oven at about 200 as well.
Yeah.
So I put it goes in the pan, goes for about 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Turn it, 40 seconds. Into the oven for 3 minutes.
Yeah, perfect.
Is that the way to do it?
Yeah, very good technique. That's what we do in restaurants.
Wow.
Seal them off in the pan and finish them off in the oven.
In the oven.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you saw the need for a chef. But the last man in the world, I thought, would have been leaving our prime education establishment, because you're the rock of that place. Why did you feel you needed to move on?
Basically a new challenge. It's I'm 44 this year, and I thought, do I want to do another 20 years or 21 years in the SRC, or would I like at this stage of my life to take on something else and to take on a new challenge? And I've always done different things in life. That's the longest I've ever been in one place. I basically just wanted to get my teeth stuck into something else, and I met Rhonda when we had the first meeting, the first discussion. It was very positive. I loved her ideas, and it was very open and frank conversation about what we could do in relation to food. Also the fact that I have my own little kitchen. Down there we have a fantastic kitchen. It's an innovation kitchen where we do our demonstrations and we do our new product development work. We have a butchery section at the back then, so we have cold rooms, we have mincing machines, sausage machines. So the whole setup I was really impressed with. I was also very impressed with Rhonda's attitude of being able to do anything and going for it, and that's really why I decided to move on. And also, from being in the college, I have trained an awful lot of chefs over the 15 years.
God,
and
indeed you have.
Anytime I go out, I meet them, and I'm extremely well looked after by them. And I just felt that I had done my time there, and it was time to move on.
Yes.
But I had a fantastic 15 years there, and I made some great friends and had some fantastic students as well.
Yeah. Now, if you don't mind me asking, you need to tell me this, because my spaghetti bologneses are very bland, and I don't like that. Don't know what to do, and I cook it for a long time.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Longer, in fact, if you
longer.
Want. Yeah. One of the best tools that I got recently, my wife bought it for me years ago, was a slow cooker.
A slow cooker? I have one of those.
Yeah, and I thought, slow cooker, that's very old school, and what am I going to do with this? But I've really started using it an awful lot, and it's absolutely fantastic piece of kit, So in Italy, when they do a bolognese, they would maybe cook it for 5, 6, 7 hours. And the slow cooker is the perfect thing for doing that.
And we can do that for 5, 6, 7 hours. You can do that,
yeah. The longer you cook it, the better, because you're developing all the flavours.
Yeah.
The other thing is you got to start off with what we call a sofrito.
A sofrito?
Sofrito would be the equivalent of the French mirepoix. So it's basically onions, celery, and carrots.
Onions, celery, and carrots, which you sweat.
Yeah, so you sweat them down again, lots of olive oil.
Yeah.
You then add in your minced beef into the same pan with the olive oil and the sofrito. So you don't, a lot of chefs, I don't know why, they decide to cook the mince separately and then put it in. It's better if you have everything in together. Then you add in your tomato puree, some fresh oregano.
Yeah.
Usually put in a wee bit of rosemary as well.
Yeah.
Good splash of your red wine, and then your tinned tomatoes and your tomato puree, and you just let it cook down really slowly. Cook. The longer you cook it, the better.
But what happens if I put mushrooms in it?
It's fine. You like all cooking. Okay, you're the person that's doing the cooking. So if you like mushrooms, you put mushrooms in. If you're talking about the classic bolognese sauce, they wouldn't be in it.
They wouldn't be in it. Yeah.
But then again, if I was in Italy and I had some nice porcinis,
yeah,
I would certainly be banging some porcini mushrooms into it, because.
But then you see, I mustn't put the mushrooms and the carrots in at the same time. I need to put the carrots in earlier.
Definitely, and put
so
the mushrooms
and then the mushrooms in
towards the
end. I'm doing
end.
well here, am I not?
We see this actually was a conversation me and Nino had the other day, because we were actually looking at stir fries and butcher shops.
Yes.
And we actually caught on that they're actually using the wrong veg in the stir fries, because they were using root veg and mixing it up with other types of veg, which would have a different cooking time,
absolutely.
which would actually affect the quality of the product.
And that's the kind of thing we're doing with them, just pointing out wee things like that. You know, so I said, that's a root veg, and he said, well, what's a root veg? Just your carrots, your parsnips. That's going to take twice as long to cook as your peppers,
and you'll certainly not do it in 3 minutes.
No, but then again, I showed him how to shred it really finely, so it
and
would
then
cook
it does
at the
in
same
3
rate.
minutes.
So that's the whole point of us training these guys. And I have to say, I've only been on board a little while, but some of the butchers I've worked with and some of the shops I've seen are absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
What the work that they're doing. I was working with a guy called Stephen Larmour 2 weeks ago down in New Bliss in Monaghan. I'm discovering all these new places around I've never seen before.
Nino got lost on the way down.
Imagine
on the way home was all right. So Stephen had a fantastic shop, or has a fantastic shop, and he's got a brilliant range of food, but he had them in separate areas.
Yes.
So, for example, he does his own gratin potatoes.
Yeah.
He does his own sauté onions and mushrooms, and he's got fantastic sirloin steaks. But they're all in separate areas of the shop. So I said, Stephen, would you not think about doing a meal deal for your customer? Put your 2 sirloin steaks with your gratin potatoes, with your sauté onions and mushrooms. The customer walks straight through the door to see it on the display.
Yeah.
To see them all sitting there. You give them an idea for their dinner, which we did. We set it up for them. a lady came in, she says, what's that? And I explained to her, and she's great, she'll take it. So instantly you can see the benefits of what we do.
What is what, how I can see what you do for butchers. What do you do for ordinary guys like me who have loved being in the kitchen and whatever? Are you going to teach us how to do?
Yeah, we are.
Can we come to you and have a
Definitely,
buy a session in your
Yes,
cookery school?
We're launching the cookery school really over the next month or so. Do you want to take over, Rhonda?
Well, basically what we're doing is, as a trial to start with, we're doing nights. So for example, try to do 1 or 2 nights a month. So the next one we're doing actually is an Italian night, and then we're doing a Thai night.
Yeah.
We also do nights for our butchers as well, from the point of view that some associate businesses that we work with, for example, like Gainers and Redbrook and Stobie and Junior, and Kiernan's and people like that there, we would do nights where they would come in, show off their ingredients and teach the butchers how to use them.
Yeah.
But we want to utilise the school, that we're not just taking in our butchery members, that we're actually open it to members of the public.
Good.
So next week we're actually doing a game night, which is new for us. So we're going to be doing venison, and we're going to be doing rabbit, and what else?
We're very lucky that I have phoned several people over the last couple of weeks. Finnebrogue, fantastic venison producer, they're sponsoring the haunch of venison.
Yes.
Murphy's Butchers here, poultry.
Yes.
They're
Murphy's in York.
Yeah, they're supplying the rabbits free, which we really appreciate. Birds have supplied us with the pheasants.
And Baird's also a butchery.
Baird's in
Birds
York.
Butchery, yeah, Birds Butchery up on the
on the Canal Street.
Canal Street, yeah. So they're all coming on board with us, and because we're trying to do these demonstrations and get people in, and one of the things with butchers, we've got fantastic game in this country, and it used to be a thing you see pheasants and duck and stuff hanging out butcher shops.
Yeah.
Probably because of HACCP regulations, etc. But you can still buy them and you can still sell them. So we're trying to encourage people to do things like that. It's mentioned in the Italian night. I have some very good friends in the Italian restaurant, Namal Sapori.
Oh, they're lovely place.
Giuseppe and Guido.
Nice people.
They're sponsoring the food for the Italian night, and it's all product that's coming in from Calabria. So it's all first-class product that they actually bring in, and they're supplying the food for the Italian night.
This is so exciting.
So yeah, there's lots of things coming up.
So it's really trying to get the word out there that we are open for business and for people to start going to our website.
As we finish, how do people contact you?
People can contact us by phoning the office on 028 855 57700, or you can Facebook us. We're on LinkedIn, and you can also alternatively look at our website.
And the website is what?
www.butcheryexcellencescheme.com.
Butcheryexcellencescheme.com. That's as good as it gets. I'm mightily impressed. And let it not be the last time we see you here. And thank you so much indeed for coming in. We'll say farewell to the people together here now, because we're at the end of the program. It's been great.